Welcome back to the Fit Focus Forum, where we take the complexity out of fitness and put the focus back on action. We give high-achieving professionals, the ones who are juggling long work weeks, travel, stress, and a full life, the strategies they need to take control of their fitness without sacrificing their careers or their sanity. Welcome back, everybody. First things first, I hope everyone had an amazing week. I am finally back from Europe, and honestly, the timing of today's episode couldn't be better. You know why? Because every vacation, every cruise, every Pride Week, every all-inclusive resort seems to create the exact same conversation. Russell, I think I've ruined my metabolism. Or, I've been dieting for years and nothing works. Or, my personal favorite, I swear I gain weight just looking at food. And if you've ever said one of those things, today's episode is for you. Because I want to clear something up right away. Your metabolism is probably not broken. It's adapted. Those are two completely different things, and understanding the difference could completely change the way you approach fat loss for the rest of your life. Now, let's start with a little honesty. The fitness industry has done an absolutely terrible job educating people on metabolism. Social media would have you believe that your metabolism is this magical little furnace. Eat spicy foods, boost your metabolism. Drink green tea, boost your metabolism. Take this supplement, boost your metabolism. Buy this fat burner, boost your metabolism. Apparently, your metabolism is as fragile as an iPhone battery. It's ridiculous. Your metabolism isn't one thing. It's the sum of thousands of chemical reactions happening inside of your body every single day. Breathing, digesting food, repairing muscle, keeping your heart beating, regulating body temperature, thinking, moving, even sleeping. Your body is burning calories 24 hours a day, whether you're sitting on the couch or deadlifting at the gym. The problem is, most people only think about the 1 hour they spend exercising. That isn't where most of your calories are burned. In fact, for most people, the majority of calories burned every day happens just by staying alive. Now, here's where things get interesting. Your body has one primary goal, and no, it's not getting you abs. It isn't helping you fit into those white shorts for Fire Island. It isn't helping you look incredible shirtless on a cruise. Your body's number one goal is survival. That's it. It doesn't care that you have a beach vacation in 6 weeks. It doesn't care that Pride is coming. It doesn't care that you want to look incredible naked. It wants to make sure that you stay alive. You know, thousands of years ago, food wasn't available whenever we wanted it. There were periods of abundance and periods where food was incredibly scarce. The humans who survived were the ones whose bodies learned how to conserve energy. That adaptation still exists today. Only now, instead of famine, we voluntarily put ourselves through it every Monday morning. Think about how almost every diet starts. I'm cutting carbs. I'm only eating 1,200 calories. I'm skipping breakfast. I'm doing intermittent fasting. I'm giving up dessert. I'm doing 2 hours of cardio every day. For a few weeks, everything seems amazing. The scale drops, people start complimenting you, your clothes fit better, you're motivated. Then, something changes. The weight loss slows. Your energy starts disappearing. You're hungry all the time. Your workouts aren't nearly as good. And you find yourself thinking about food constantly. Suddenly, you convince yourself, my metabolism is broken. Nope. Your body adapted to exactly what you asked it to do. And honestly, that's a pretty incredible thing. Because imagine if it didn't. Imagine if every time food became scarce, your body just kept burning calories exactly the same way forever. You wouldn't last very long. Instead, your body gets smarter. It starts conserving energy. One of the biggest ways it does that is through something called metabolic adaptation. Now, don't let the fancy name scare you. It's actually pretty simple. When food stays low for an extended period of time, your body begins reducing how much energy it wastes. Not because it's trying to frustrate you, because it's trying to protect you. And here's the crazy part. Most of it happens without you even noticing. You move less, you fidget less, you sit more, you take the elevator instead of the stairs, you don't pace while you're talking on the phone, you park a little closer, you stop bouncing your leg. All those tiny movements you never think about, they start disappearing individually. They are absolutely nothing, but collectively, they can add up to hundreds of calories every single day. That's one of the reasons two people eating the exact same calories can have completely different results. One person is constantly moving, the other isn't. Neither one realizes it's happening. Now, let's add another layer. As you lose weight, your body naturally requires fewer calories. Think about carrying a 50-pound backpack everywhere you go. Walking upstairs would be harder. Standing up would require more effort. Everything would burn more energy. Now, take off the backpack. Suddenly, life gets easier. And that's exactly what happens when you lose 50 pounds. There's simply less body to move. So naturally, your calorie needs to decrease. That's not a broken metabolism, that's physics. But instead of recognizing that, most people panic. They immediately assume, I need to eat even less. So, 1,500 calories becomes 1,200. And then 1,200 calories becomes 1,000. And then they add another hour of cardio, and then another. Eventually, their entire life revolves around trying to burn as many calories as possible while eating as little as possible. And that's usually when progress comes to a screeching halt. Not because they lack discipline, but because they're attacking the problem in the wrong way. One of the biggest mistakes that I see, especially with gay men, is turning fat loss into a competition over who can eat less. Someone says they're eating 1,800 calories. Someone else proudly says, I'm only eating 12, like it's some type of badge of honor. It isn't. Eating the least amount of food possible is not the goal. The goal is eating the most food possible while still making progress. Listen to that again, because that's one of the biggest mindset shifts we teach inside our coaching. The prize doesn't go to the guy surviving on chicken breast and lettuce. The prize goes to the guy eating enough food to fuel great workouts, to recover properly, to maintain muscle, to enjoy a social life, and still lose body fat consistently. That's strategy, not punishment. And, unfortunately, the fitness industry has spent decades convincing people that if you're miserable, it must be working. Y'all, that's complete nonsense. Now let's talk about one of the biggest reasons people think their metabolism has stopped working: chronic dieting. I can't tell you how many people come into our coaching program and tell me, I've been dieting for years, not weeks, not months, years. And here's what usually happened. They lost 20 pounds. They celebrated. They gained 15 back. They panicked. So they slashed their calories. They lost 10 more. And then they gained back 12. So they tried keto. Then they tried intermittent fasting. Then they tried Whole30, carnivore, maybe a juice cleanse. They tried counting points, counting macros, eating clean, cutting carbs again. Oh my God, I'm going crazy just thinking about it. And before they know it, they spent the last decade bouncing between diets. Here's the problem. Your body was never designed to stay in a caloric deficit forever. A calorie deficit is a stress. Now, it's a productive stress when it's used correctly. Just like lifting weights. Lifting weights is stressful. Your muscles literally experience tiny amounts of damage. But then you recover. You sleep, you eat, you get stronger. Imagine what would happen if you lifted heavy every single day, never took a rest day, never slept, never ate enough protein. Eventually, you'd break the fuck down. Dieting works exactly the same way. Deficits should be temporary, not permanent. Yet so many people spend years trying to lose that last 10 pounds. Their body never gets a break. They're constantly underfed, constantly hungry, constantly tired. Then they wonder why nothing works anymore. Now let's talk about intermittent fasting, because every time I mention it, somebody gets angry. So let me be very clear. Intermittent fasting isn't good. Intermittent fasting isn't bad. It's simply a schedule. That's it. If fasting helps you control your calories, fan-fucking-tastic. If you hate eating breakfast, great. If you naturally eat less because your eating window is shorter, awesome. But here's where people get into trouble. They start believing the fasting window itself is burning fat. It isn't. Calories still matter. Protein still matters. Resistance training still matters. Recovery still matters. You don't magically bypass biology because you skipped breakfast. I've seen people fast for 16 hours and then eat 4,000 calories between 4 o'clock and midnight. And guess what? They still gained weight. I've also seen clients eat breakfast every morning, lose 30 pounds, and keep it off because they controlled the total calories. Not meal timing. And the biggest issue is when fasting becomes another excuse to undereat. Someone skips breakfast, skips lunch, has one meal, maybe gets 1,200 calories, does that for 6 months, then wonders why they're freezing all the time, thinking about food constantly and falling asleep on the couch every night. It's not because fasting ruined their metabolism. It's because they've been chronically underfueling their body. And then there's muscle. This is where most people unknowingly sabotage themselves. Remember earlier when I said your body adapts? Well, one of the easiest ways for your body to reduce caloric expenditure is by carrying around less muscle. I know, terrifying, right? Think about it. Muscle is an expensive tissue. It requires calories to maintain. If food is scarce, your body starts asking itself, do we really need all of this? If you're lifting weights, eating enough protein, and following a smart deficit, you'll preserve most of your muscle. If you're doing endless cardio, eating almost nothing, and never touching a dumbbell, your body starts sacrificing muscle along with body fat. That's why two people can both lose 20 pounds and look completely different afterwards. One looks lean, athletic, defined. The other just looks smaller. Because weight loss and fat loss are not the same thing. Listen to that again. Weight loss and fat loss are not the same thing. Our goal has never been to simply make the scale go down. Our goal is to improve body composition, to lose fat and keep muscle. Maybe even build muscle if the situation allows. Because muscle changes everything. It improves insulin sensitivity. It improves posture. It improves strength. It improves longevity. And yes, it increases the number of calories you burn each day. Excuse me. Not thousands of calories like social media claims, but enough that preserving it matters. That's why you'll almost never hear me celebrate someone simply just losing weight. I care about what they lost. If you lose 15 pounds, but 10 of those pounds were muscle, I'm sorry, guys, that's not a victory. It's a fucking problem. Let's talk about something that completely freaks people out, which is eating more. I know, it sounds backwards. You've been told your entire life, if fat loss stops, eat less. So when I tell a client, I actually want you to increase your calories, they look at me like I've completely lost my mind. They're convinced they're going to gain 50 pounds by Friday, and then something very interesting happens. Their workouts improve. They're stronger. Their energy comes back. Their sleep improves. Their hunger becomes manageable. They start moving more throughout the day. Their mood improves. Their stress decreases. And in many cases, body composition actually starts improving again. Why is this? Because the body finally has enough fuel to perform. Let's clear something up. This doesn't mean everyone who's plateaued should immediately go eat pizza. It's not what I'm saying. There's a huge difference between intentionally increasing calories and using reverse dieting as an excuse to binge. One is a strategy. The other is just fucking self-sabotage. Recovery dieting, it's a structured process. It's planned. It's monitored. Calories are increased gradually. Biofeedback is monitored. Training performance is monitored. Body composition is monitored. Everything has a purpose. Because the goal isn't simply eating more. The goal is creating an environment where your body can actually perform again. One of my favorite analogies is this. Imagine trying to renovate your house every single day. Someone delivers building materials, right? Lumber, drywall, paint, windows, everything the workers need. Now imagine you stop delivering supplies. Eventually, the workers can't keep building. Not because they forgot how, because they ran out of materials. Your body works the same way. If you constantly underfeed it, eventually, it doesn't have the resources to keep performing at a high level. Not because your metabolism broke, because you stopped supplying what it needed. And that's one of the biggest lessons I hope you take away from today. Your body isn't your enemy. It's responding exactly the way it was designed to respond. The question is, are you giving it a reason to thrive or simply asking it to survive? Now, there's one more piece of the puzzle that almost nobody talks about, which is recovery. I know, recovery isn't sexy. Nobody gets excited about going to bed early. Nobody posts on Instagram about getting 8 hours of sleep, except maybe myself. Nobody brags about managing their stress, except maybe me. But if I had to rank the things that separate people who stay lean for years from the people who constantly lose and regain the same 20 pounds, recovery would be near the top of that list. Think about everything your body does and has to do after a workout. Repair damaged muscle fibers, replace glycogen, regulate hormones, what else? Reduce inflammation, adapt to the training stimulus. All of that happens after you leave the gym, not while you're there. The gym is where you create the stimulus. Recovery is where you collect the results. And that's exactly why I tell clients, you don't build muscle in the gym. You build muscle because of what you do after the gym. That's also why someone training 5 days a week isn't automatically going to get better results than someone training 3 or 4. If the 5-day person is exhausted, under eating, sleeping 5 hours a night, and living on caffeine, the 3-day person who's recovering well is probably going to outperform them every single time. Recovery isn't the reward for hard work. Recovery is part of the work. Let's talk about another mistake I see all the time. People become obsessed with finding the perfect calorie number. Should I eat 1,687 calories? What if my watch says I burned another 214? Should I subtract that? Listen. Your body doesn't reset itself at midnight because you ate 12 calories too many. Fitness isn't that precise. Your calorie target, it's a guide. It's not a prison sentence. Consistency beats precision every single time. In fact, one of the biggest reasons people struggle isn't because their metabolism is broken. It's because they never stay consistent long enough to find out exactly what works. Monday, perfect. Tuesday, I was perfect. Wednesday, there was that office birthday party. I screwed up. Thursday, you know what? I'll just start again on Monday. Friday, yeah, I'll come to happy hour with you guys. Saturday, fucking brunch sounds great. Let's go. Sunday, one last cheat meal, right? Because I went to the bar and had a few drinks. Then Monday, they begin the cycle all over again. That is not a metabolism problem. That is an all or nothing mindset. And honestly, I think that's one of the most damaging beliefs in fitness. People think they either have to be perfect or they might as well do nothing. There's no middle ground. But real life lives in the middle ground. You're going to go on vacation. You're going to have birthday dinners. You're going to have drinks with friends. You're going to go to weddings. You're going to have pizza nights with your husband. You're going to enjoy the holidays. None of these things are why people gain weight. What causes weight gain is turning one meal into one weekend into 1 month, and 1 month into giving up completely. One meal has almost no impact on your physique. 1 week really doesn't either. It's what you consistently do over and over again for the next 6 months that matters. That's why I always tell our clients, don't try to be perfect. Just try to be consistent. Perfect, that's only going to ever last a few days. Consistent, that's going to last for years. Let's bring this back to the question we started with. Is my metabolism broken? For almost everyone listening, the answer is no. Your metabolism isn't broken. Your body is incredibly adaptive. It learned to become more efficient because that's exactly what you trained it to do. The beautiful part is you can train it in the other direction too. By eating enough protein, building muscle, strength training consistently, managing stress, sleeping well, using strategic diet breaks when appropriate, not spending your entire life in a caloric deficit. Those are all things that actually improve your ability to maintain a lean physique. Not detox teas, not fat burners, not starvation, not another crash diet you found on TikTok. And here's something I want you to remember the next time you feel frustrated. Your body is not working against you. It's working for you. Every adaptation your body makes is an attempt to keep you alive. That's actually incredible when you think about it. So the problem isn't your metabolism. The problem is that most people have never been taught how to work with their body instead of constantly fighting against it. That's exactly why we built the modified macro method. We don't teach people how to eat less forever. We teach them how to eat strategically, how to fuel performance, how to lose fat without sacrificing muscle, how to navigate vacations, business trips, date nights, cocktails, brunch, cruises, because if your fitness plan only works when life is perfect, it's not a very good plan. Life is fucking messy. Work gets fucking stressful. Flights get delayed. Friends want to grab dinner. Family comes to town. You celebrate birthdays. You go to Pride. You travel. Fitness has to fit inside your life, not replace it. That's what sustainability actually looks like. And after coaching thousands of people, I can tell you something with complete confidence. The people who stay lean year after year aren't the ones with the fastest metabolism. They're the ones with the best habits. They don't panic after one bad meal. They don't slash calories every Monday. They don't spend their lives chasing the next diet trend. They simply keep showing up again and again and again. That's what creates an incredible physique, not perfection. Consistency. So if you take one thing away from today's episode, let it be this. Stop asking, how can I eat less? Start asking, how can I create a plan I can actually follow for the next 10 years? Because that's the question that changes everything. Thank you again so much for listening to another episode of the Fit Focus Forum. I truly appreciate every single one of you who spends part of your week with me. If you found this episode helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you shared it with a friend. The more people we can educate with evidence-based fitness information, the more people we can help stop chasing quick fixes and start building sustainable results. And if you're ready to finally build a lean, confident body that allows you to still travel, enjoy your social life, and actually live your life, we'd love to help. Head over to Instagram and follow us at Statham Fitness. That's STATHOM Fitness, all one word. And send me the keyword daddy in a DM. We'll send you the information about the modified macro method and see if it's a good fit for you to meet with one of our representatives so we can talk about your path to a sustainable lifestyle where you keep the weight off for good. As always, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for trusting me. Keep asking questions, keep learning, keep showing up, and remember, your metabolism isn't broken, it adapted. The good news is you can adapt it right back. I'll see you next week on the Fit Focus Forum.